So we're sitting back in the back of the bus at the Delta Country Jam. This is Aaron Reynolds, and he is Square Peg Sherpa's marketing, his VP of marketing, I guess we'd call him, in the Nashville office. Kind of an unofficial title,
I'll take
but
that.
he's works under Rachel Adams and has the responsibility for marketing most of the club theater level shows that we do on a day-to-day basis, and have been with us for about 2 years now.
Yeah, this May makes it 2 years.
Wow, we're gonna have to get a cake or something. At
to
least
celebrate.
a midget stripper or something.
That'd be a first.
Something that'd make your parents real proud. Anyway, so I thought for Marketing 101 kind of conversation, a lot of the younger bands would love to know what your process is when a show confirms and how you get the word out to the public that the show is coming, where you spend your money, what is your focus to get the work out. And let's take it from all points of view. First, let's start with like a 1,500 seater, and let's call it a band like Yonder Mountain or Humphreys and McGee.
Yeah.
Something where people already know them, they've got a following, they're gonna sell tickets, people are going to their website anyway. You find out the show's confirmed, you know what your on-sale dates are, you know your pre-sale dates. What's your process? You just got your confirmed show sheet. What do you do?
Yeah, we'll skip all the little things of building the e-cards, but for those, it's figuring out the audience and tapping into where they're going to be. So obviously, in my mind, Yonder Mountain, Humphreys McGee, those types of bands, when folks go to those shows, they want to go with their friends, and it's kind of more of a party. They're not going to generally buy a single ticket. And so I think tapping into the social media aspect for them and their friends being able to talk about it and being like, oh, you're going, I would love to do that as well, is a great way to reach those folks. And also the street team aspect for those bands is huge. I've found that infinitely useful.
When you say street team, I think most people know what that is, but can you go a little deeper in exactly what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for these bands, it's beyond just getting posters up, tapping into the other shows they're attending. So getting handbills, but also digital street team is huge for me these days. And so by that, I try to find somebody that's very engaged online and has a huge following. And sometimes I'll trade tickets with them and just have them invite friends to the Facebook event, post about the event, and that is incredibly useful. And any other aspect that they can, tap into, whether they use Twitter, Google Plus isn't really beneficial in that area, but for them to engage folks online, I think has been incredibly helpful for me. I really like that aspect for it. And then obviously you have all the the standards, finding a radio station to get on board, which is really tough with these acts. But I've found college stations really beneficial for smaller acts such as these. Those students love, they usually have a variety of DJs, and when you can find one DJ that, is playing that music, they will blow it out for you. So that's generally my approach for these smaller acts. I don't see my spending on print as big for these acts. I mainly focus on an online aspect.
And for print, you're talking about weekly and daily newspapers, mainly weekly?
Yeah, mainly weekly. I mean, I'll put some small ads in if it's beneficial. If we have a few acts, do a strip ad, stuff like that. But I would rather put it on the weeklies digital, go to banner ads on their website. Getting email blasts, I think for those bands also getting in front of kids with emails, I think is very beneficial.
Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah.
And you spend a good amount of money on Facebook, right?
I spend a good amount of money on Facebook. I mean, Facebook has so many different aspects these days that you can tap into. I don't even do banner ads on Facebook anymore. They have newsfeed ads that you can create, and then tapping in. One of the most beneficial things for these bands is working directly with their marketing team and setting up promoted posts through their page. I have found that to be incredibly useful. I'd usually, especially leading into the show, because those shows are huge walk-ups. So working with the artists to set up promoted posts about 3 days leading into the show, the traction those promoted posts get is unreal.
Jamie Loeb was talking about that at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
So you have to get admin access from the act, which is a little more work, and there's got to be trusting of what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on Facebook these days, they created, which is genius, an advertising admin. So as an advertising admin, all I can do is basically put money into the artist's Facebook page, And so they're still trusting, because I can create an ad that says that it could be detrimental to them, but obviously I would never do that. But what the advertising admin does is I provide the content to the artist. We agree upon the content that they're posting, and I ask them, a specific date and time to post it, and then I go in and boost it. I put the money behind it, and my account is directly charged, so we don't have to deal with it at settlement. I don't have to provide them with the credit card details or anything like that. And then I can actually put more money into it. I can take money out of it. I can control how long that post is boosted for. So that has been incredibly useful.
See you as like Scrooge McDuck with the Facebook account, just deciding what you're doing. More money in, less money.
Yeah, just moving it around. But no, those are really beneficial, and I'm really happy that Facebook has done that.
All right, and let's talk about the really small developing acts. The first time out, the act that you get a show announcement, show is confirmed, you are on the act, and you've never heard of them yet, which happens because you're not a talent buyer.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of acts that come in that I haven't heard about.
A lot of us, there's a lot of times where me or Jason Zink will confirm a show, and then you'll find out about it in an email that you're responsible for marketing this act that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
What's the process there? Because obviously you're going to want to do a little research before you just start spending money.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, as you said, it's research. Listening to the artist and trying to get my own idea of what I think this is, but that's, that doesn't place anything. So then, I try to read about them, see who is writing about the artist, so what blogs, what art, what media is picking up this artist.
So you can figure out a genre?
Yeah.
So for example, Winery Dogs, I'm sure when you saw the first confirmation on that, playing the clubs, no idea who the fuck they were?
No idea. Well, yeah, the name Winery Dogs, I had no idea. So that was...
as soon as you start looking at the lineup and doing the research and realizing it's an all-star band, it's different.
Exactly.
Probably a bad example when you're talking about...
Yeah, that one was a little easier.
Because there's a real act of all celebrities in that.
Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy, I was just, boom, I know.
It's like, all right, we know how to sell Dream Theater, we can sell this, right?
Exactly. But
something...
Johnny Swim, for instance.
Great example. New act, coming up quick, super hip enough to have already sold out a Seattle show and rolling a late night show. That's how cool they are.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a little tough at first. I didn't know exactly where to go. I listened to them. I read about them. Actually, one of the beneficial things was actually attending the showcase. Seeing them live was actually very beneficial. Obviously, the showcase didn't.
Yeah, you're a fan now, right?
Yeah,
they're great.
Absolutely. The showcase was amazing. That was a lot of fun.
Not unattractive people either.
No.
Little disappointing to find out they're in a relationship.
My chances are ruined.
Yeah.
I was going after her. Obviously, the showcase didn't give me an idea of the audience because it's all music industry folks, but it gave me an idea of their performance, which was it kind of gives you an insight to who you can imagine being there. But just talking to people, getting their ideas on who this is. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of research involved into it.
You haven't had to market that yet, though, right?
Johnny Swim?
Yeah.
I've done Facebook, but I haven't personally. I haven't
for
done
the Seattle show.
Yeah, I haven't done my own market.
Right, those are just starting to come in.
Yeah, so with those type of acts, it's in my mind, it's educating people kind of on what they are rather than going for a specific name. So trying to educate people can be really, really tough.
Well, there's a lot of white noise out there because we're competing with every other act that no one has ever heard of, and then all the acts that people have heard of.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a small band like that, I mean that's a tough one. That's one that I can't say I've fully figured out the best route, for instance.
I think you're going to find that with that act in particular, there is a underground coolness that's in a Malcolm Gladwell kind of way.
Yep.
The cool people have figured it out, the trendsetters.
Exactly.
And people will follow that because it's there, and clearly we're seeing that in Seattle, and I think that's going to come through on a national basis. That the hipper markets, the Seattles, the San Franciscos, the Chicagos, the LAs, the Nashvilles, the New Yorks, the Bostons are going to get it immediately. And then, and the Austins. And then the secondary, markets will follow through and get catch up. And there'll be a career there for that act for sure.
Oh, yeah. That act has a long ways to go.
Just like we found out with Tim when he went out and did his first American comedy tour after being huge in the UK. It was like... just had to figure it out. Tim mentioned, not for the internet that doesn't know what you and me are talking about. Sorry, we should use full names. But Tim was huge in the big, cool markets first, and then, once the world realized what was happening and Showtime played his Royal Albert special, and the Californication, spot came out.
Yeah, well, and I think we're building on with Danny Boy in a sense, right?
Danny Boy, I think, is going to have the same kind of career, and there's obviously he's already big in the UK and huge in Canada, and we're going to start with America by filtering in the border towns from Canada, and just like we started with Trailer Park Boys, it's like work the border towns and see how far it extends into America, but just make it a shockwave and continue to come down slower and slower. But
absolutely.
I think they're going to be very hands-on, picking the right size rooms, and I really think that you're going to see a lot of those shows turn into 2 shows in a night.
Really?
Yeah, I think we picked the right rooms in particular for him to blow them out and add late shows.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of that.
Yeah, so he's another great one that, in terms of building off of that. But
you can hear sound check going on.
we are backstage.
We are at the Delta Country Jam in, I want to say Memphis, but I think we both learned out yesterday we're not in Memphis.
We are actually in Mississippi.
We're in Mississippi. We're both watching the bands go, why do they keep thinking Mississippi? You have to fly into Memphis, and 5 minutes away apparently is the border, so it's
You wouldn't think that either of us do marketing or by talent, but
well, it's cool. We saw some interesting country shows. It's like Keith Urban was here yesterday. Dirk Bentley's here today. We're excited about that.
Lucero was awesome.
Lucero was awesome. You gotta love that we're at the Country Fest, the one band that we're all excited to see. Lucero. Killing it.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about, you've got a $300 budget for a club act playing it the first time through, which is not unrealistic.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Let's call it an $8 ticket.
Yeah. I mean,
what are we doing to for the viewers that probably saw me at South by, that came to learn about marketing or Canadian Music Week? They want to know how to market shows and how to stand out amongst all of the other club bands and not look like they're a club band, look like they're something special that's about to break.
Yeah. So there you kind of got to tap into the core fans and get them. I mean, that's how you're going to educate new folks. So tapping into your core fans that are going to bring their friends is incredibly beneficial. For me, I try to get creative with working with the artist camp and any materials they have. So if we can build contests, if we can do meet and greets, if we can build shirts, whatever, to build a package, and then tapping into those core fans and creating a contest around it is really beneficial. So for instance, this might not be the best example, but Corey Smith in Lexington, for instance, small venue, not a big budget. Tapping into the University of Kentucky, I got the sororities email lists, and I built a sorority competition for meet and greets, and that blew up. That was awesome, and every sorority girl brought her friends, they brought their boyfriends, and those were incredibly beneficial.
Because the girls buy the tickets and the boys follow the girls.
Yep. The boys are going to go wherever the girls go. I mean, that's the case.
That's just human nature 101 right there.
As we all know. So, with those small bands, it's you got to get a little more creative because your budget's not going to go very far. So any contests you can look into, and again, I know it sounds repetitive, but I will put majority of that into Facebook and working off the artist's page. I think that has the greatest return in getting people talking about it.
Now let's talk about something that we've been talking about a lot lately, and that's assets. And when we say assets, we're talking about provided artist image that's set in a way like a Bill Young or a tour design, or even given to you by management. This is our album art, this is what we're working on this cycle, this is what we want you to use. When bands don't have that, and smaller bands will oftentimes skip that step, and I think it's a lot harder for us to take them seriously.
Absolutely.
And it's not that expensive to create.
No, it's really not. I mean, if you want your stuff to, if you want your show to sell well, providing us with all those assets is the only way that's going to help it. And for you to create it, I think it's relatively cheap. I mean, give me a good photo. Don't have me going searching.
A logo.
Yeah.
A font that we always use and the color that we like that in.
Yeah, exactly. You know, don't have me going searching for this stuff. You know, you keep having a photo. I mean, we can
basically creating a poster, but leaving the date and the space for the date and the venue information out.
Yeah,
a blank poster.
You know,
sure.
Something of a high resolution, just so you know, we got to put this into many different dimensions, and you know, if we're
so a layered file in that format too would help.
Oh yeah, well, and you know, sometimes that's gonna be hard for a younger band.
But you know, if you spend $500 or you've got a girlfriend who's a graphic designer, just like.
Absolutely.
I imagine you could probably trade weed for that, you know?
Yeah. You can find a way.
Yeah.
You can find a way.
A lot of graphic designers smoke pot. I don't know if that's a big secret out there, but...
yeah, those assets are infinitely useful. You know, a link to some music. I'm trying to think of a small band that is incredibly beneficial with that. I mean, lots of times, like Yonder Mountain Street Band is incredibly beneficial.
I know Straight No Chaser's not a very small band, but they always provide all of the content.
Yeah, I was gonna actually mention them. But
they're great at
larger,
marketing.
Yeah, they're larger.
They're bigger, but they're part of your day-to-day world. You spend a lot of time on the phone with them.
Yeah, I love what they do. So they create a marketing letter and they lay out what their formula is, and they lay out where all their assets are. They provide you with YouTube videos, layered ad mats, bio, press release. All that stuff is in one spot. That is one of the greatest examples, I think.
So they send you a link to their Dropbox, and you can get everything out of that kind of thing.
Get everything out of it. That is incredibly useful. I mean, especially when I go to, you know, because you got to think that I'm not just providing it to myself. I got to give it to venues. I got to give it to, you know, whatever, you know, however the radio station's involved.
Delivered to press.
Yeah, it's going to a lot of people. So if you have it in one spot for me to easily grab it and sort through what each one needs, rather than me going finding and compiling.
Right, because your job is essentially to exploit the band's assets, and they're hiring you to. The word exploit sounds bad, but in the way that they're doing it, this is what they're hiring us to do.
Yeah.
And if they give you the right things that they want pushed out there, opposed to something that's old or something that if they don't provide it, the picture of the dead drummer could still be the one that we wind up using because nobody's given us anything better.
Yeah, I'm going to your website and assuming the photos that I'm finding on there are good to go, you know, if you're not providing it to me. Or I'm going to the agency website, which is sometimes impossible to track down stuff through. So if you got an image you want, give me the proper materials.
Yeah, it's and when a band's website's not up to date, I imagine that's a little frustrating. You go to an act and you see that their last tour date posted was for 2012.
Yeah.
And you know we've done 10 shows with them since then.
Exactly. I mean, keep things active. I mean, that's how people are engaged with you these days. It's through social media. I mean, nobody's writing you letters anymore. It's through your internet. Keep your website up to date. I mean, I hate...
Don't hate, dude. Have love in your heart.
Facebook's a great example. I mean, it's like going to a blog and the last time they posted was, you know, a year ago. It's like, well, I'm not going to check that again because I'm assuming it's not up to date. You know, if you're going to keep your fans engaged...
So if you're talking to a lead singer of a band that's in the garage and they no record deal, you know, just solid as hell, they know what they're doing, they're amazing, they're going to be the next Low Cash Cowboys. What do you tell them? Your first thing to do, they've got $1,000 to invest on their band's marketing and image. Where do you put that money? It costs nothing to start a Facebook page, so let's assume they're going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I mean,
you should own your
assets are used.
You should own your URL. You should, if you're a band, you should go buy your website before somebody else does.
Yeah, you should have your website created. You know, you're not spending any money on that. You shouldn't be spending money. You should be creating content, but that shouldn't be money.
Bands should be tweeting too, right? Because that costs them nothing, but they should be tweeting at least 2-3 times a day.
They should be tweeting.
All the band members should have access to the Twitter account, and they should all be putting up fresh content.
Exactly, and then, content's a word that gets thrown around, and I think the meaning behind it is kind of lost these days. But
well, how do you define content then?
Something that's engaging to your users. I don't care if you're and we're all victims of this, but I don't care that you just got a new tour that went up and it's nowhere near me. I want to be able to like
See that you're active.
yeah, see that you're active, and then see. I mean, honestly, it sounds lame, but your fans want to know what's going on in your life. So like,
So Snoop Dogg's having breakfast and he sees a cockroach running across the floor, takes a picture and tweets it. It's engaging to his fans. That's content.
that's more exciting than
Something's happening in his life and he's sharing that because it's entertaining.
yeah. Well, and like content to me is something that the fans get to then share beyond than. Not just look at it and be like, oh, that's interesting. Something that they're gonna push forward to their friends. That they're
Especially if they happen to be a clever guy in the band.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you should be posting it, and I think something you and I also talked about is creating a hashtag that's retweetable and usable.
So small enough, and when he says that, he means something small enough that's not 250 letters, which is ironic because I had a hashtag this morning, which was the Jew at the crossroads, which is the longest hashtag I've ever had.
Yeah, and so you're not going to get much action out of that. You know?
Yeah, but I thought it was funny. It made me laugh.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I put out a lot of content.
But man, where to go with that $1,000 is a tough question. I guess the thing is,
Because you can probably have a website designed for 500 with the URL.
yeah.
Do you go have some art created? Do you? Because you can start the Twitter account for free. You can start the Facebook page for free.
Yeah, you should.
And you got to get that stuff going to get those followers built up. And the more you tweet and the more you use it, you're going to get.
And I don't think you necessarily have to have art created, because as you said, I mean, you can get a graphic designer, trade some weed out, something like that. If you just give me a photo, it doesn't have to be necessarily art. We can work.
And we don't need a professional photographer. We just need a girlfriend with a camera.
Exactly.
Or an iPhone that has high res. Bio, too.
Bio, yeah.
Doesn't cost anything to write a bio. It doesn't even have to be true. You just have to stick to it.
No, absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing, because you gotta assume that ticket links need information, the websites need information, like the venue and all that stuff. So I'm creating a bio for you because you don't have one. I'm assuming you're like, I'm building one for you. I'm assuming your life, and if you don't like it, it's because you didn't create anything for me.
Right, and some of that stuff can really be beneficial. It's like, look at Jack White and Meg. It's like they kept putting out contrary information that they were brother and sister, that they were married, that they were divorced. It was like everyone was talking about what's the real deal with the two of them. It was like when it finally came out that they were divorced, that they weren't brother and sister. It was really, really like this huge mystery had been solved that they created through what the hell? Why not? We're bored. Probably sitting on the back of a bus. We should be brother and sister now. We have the same last name.
People talked about it.
They did, and it was probably just an interview that went wrong at some point. Somebody saw the same last name and assumed they were brother and sister. And like, why not? Sure, we are.
We'll just roll with it.
Why not?
See what happens.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's like somebody wrote they were black too once, I'm sure. It's like, yeah. It's like Jack Black and Jack White are brothers.
Yeah, I'm sure people.
Their names are Jack.
People went off on that one.
Anything. Just get people talking about it.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is another reference to go back to with Straight No Chaser, because their bands, they change out members all the time, and so having an updated bio is infinite. I mean, so useful and incredibly helpful, and it's time saving.
So if people that see this interview want to tweet to you and ask you questions, probably the best way to find you. Your Twitter handle is what?
My Twitter handle is AC Rainman. A is in Aaron, C is in Charles, Rainman, Rainman. Don't ask how that came to be.
You don't seem very sure of that. Is that it? You can also hit him at Aaron at SherpaConcerts.com.
Yeah,
we'll put it on the screen for you later.
SherpaConcerts.com. I gotta verify my Twitter account.
That's all right. We'll double check it and put it on the screen. That's something Brittany will do in post.
But yes, you can get me at Aaron at SherpaConcerts.com.
Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time. We're looking forward to another great day at Delta Country Jam.
Oh, it's beautiful. The sun's shining. It's not as hot as yesterday.
And Dirks Bentley has just set up a bar outside his bus.
Yeah. You see that? They got the whole backdrop, the American flag going.
I imagine we're going to get to do some drinking today, and I'm hearing some ribs are in our future, too. So I'm looking forward to that.
Memphis barbecue.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time, Aaron.
Thank you.